I always love auditions because there's always surprises, and I never know exactly what we're going to get. I never know exactly who's going to walk in the door. So I was feeling optimistic, and I think we had assembled a really great cast, so I'm really pleased with the turnout for the auditions.
Throughout auditions, there's obviously going to be that overall feeling of nervousness and excitement at the same time, because everyone wants to get the role that they're trying out for, and it's stressful, but it's like a good stressful, because you want to put your everything into that one audition, that 30 seconds to a minute that you have to read a script or sing a song. I just love auditions because it gave me the chance to put my own personal spin on whatever character I was trying out for. In my case, it was Tanya, and it's fun because you get to see what kind of talents everyone else has, whether it be singing, dancing, acting, or a combination of all three.
I'm always nervous before like any type of audition, whether it's a sports tryout or a job interview. I was really scared because I knew that compared to some of the kids, I didn't have the experience. I only had one show on my resume, but I was really confident in some of my abilities, like singing, so that's really what helped me.
This was one of the more straightforward years of casting. I think the decisions sort of fell into place pretty easily. I think it was very clear who was the right person for the right role, who was appropriate for those roles. So that came very easily for this show. Sometimes we really have to agonize, and we have a callback, and sometimes the lead roles have to duke it out. But this one, I think, was pretty clear. So it helped make the process a little easier.
In my opinion, the first cast rehearsal, the first full cast rehearsal, is a really special moment because it's kind of the first time that everyone gets to sing together or dance together, whatever's set for that first rehearsal, and you get to see everyone as a whole, and it sets the vibe for the whole musical. And I remember that day we started with bows, which was kind of random because usually you start the show from the beginning, but there was so much in that set of bows because there were 3 Mamma Mia songs back to back. So we just got to right to work on those, and we got to hear everyone's singing voices, and it just sounded really good together. It was a really good feeling.
The cast was really responsible, stepped up, showed up to rehearsals, showed up prepared, and I think that overall, I think the process went very smoothly.
It was definitely a lot of new people that I haven't seen before. It seems like the classes below us just keep getting bigger, so there was a lot of new people, a lot of people to meet, talk to. Was really overwhelming, but I was ready to start working with everybody.
Well, I had done a production of Mamma Mia back in November at the Norwood Theater in Norwood, Massachusetts. And so we actually purchased the set from that production. Our set designer and technical director, Mr. Beckvold, reassembled it all together, even though it was mostly constructed in pieces. We were able to transport it over in a 26-foot U-Haul and get it assembled as soon as we could. So we had a great opportunity to work on the set earlier than normal. So most of the band that played in Norwood also is playing our show in Abington. Our music director in Norwood is also the choral director at the Brockton Public Schools, and also a great pianist. So most of the band that we had was the same group of professional musicians who wanted to get back together and hang out with each other and with us and help out with our Abington production. So it was really awesome that we had really world-class musicians participating. We also had a student participate. We had also had Alex Gautreaux playing one of the percussion books. So he was the only student playing, but he's a great musician, so he was able to keep up with that group of adults. So we have a great choreographer. Tara Morrison is our choreographer. She works at the Capitone School of Performing Arts in East Bridgewater. She and I go way back. We've done some theater together throughout the years, and she works with students at the Capitone School and has been our choreographer on and off for the last, maybe 7 or 8 years.
Tech Week's an interesting thing where I think you either love it or hate it, and I personally love it because even though it can get exhausting at some points, you just know that, oh, it's the final week before the production and you want to get everything perfect. You want to make the dance moves sharper and the lines better, and you have a feeling that everything's going to fall into place in the end and the show is going to be great. There's a million different things happening at once, and that's kind of why I love it, because it's a good kind of chaos between getting mic'd up for the first time and performing with a live band and sneaking secret psych gifts to people, and it's tiring, but it's a lot of fun.
I actually love Tech Week, although Mr. Sean and Tara become a little scary, but it brings the cast a whole lot closer together, and I've always loved the long hours at school.
Being able to work with such an amazing cast and amazing group of kids to just work through all like the nitty-gritty things of the show, like how long it takes someone to change into a costume, making sure that they get to be where they need to be, and making sure they get off the set pieces when they need to get off. But it was definitely something amazing, and it's just great. I love it. Tech Week was memorable, to say the least.
And I think we were more prepared for this show than we were in many other years. I think some of that had to do with the fact that we were able to work on our set weeks and weeks before we got into Tech Week. There's always bumps. I think we had some issues with sound because we were using a new system. The band was all electronic, so not only were they dealing with having to hear themselves through monitors, but we also using a click track because everything had to be in sync with all the synthesizers that were in there. So we had some technical issues with some sound, but I think we had resolved those, and they would have been fine, certainly for our performances.
When the show got canceled, I was dumbstruck. There's no other way to put it, because like I just said about Tech Week, all our work was going into that opening night and the rest of the shows, and everyone was just ready to put on such an amazing show. But I just remember I was wearing this t-shirt to school in order to promote the show and to get people to go to it, and one of the teachers came up to me and she goes, "Oh, are you sure the show's gonna be on? They're canceling things due to the pandemic." And my first thought was, no, the pandemic hasn't hit our town yet, we're gonna be fine. So to hear that the show was canceled 5 hours before showtime, it was devastating. There was some good that came out of it. Our entire cast and crew, our drama family, came together, and we all kind of grieved for the show because we knew that our work was gonna be incredible, and we knew that we were gonna put on an amazing show for the audience that we were supposed to have. I understand that it was in the best interest of people's safety, but at the same time, you can't help but wonder, what if we were able to get those 3 shows? And if there was any way to put on the show, I would. I really would.
We found out about 5 hours before our opening night that the Department of Health, in conjunction with the school department, felt it best in everyone's safety and best interest to not have the performances that night. And like I said, I believe that was the right answer and the right course of action. There was some disappointment, obviously, and I think there was hope that maybe we'd get back later in the school year. And sadly that didn't come to fruition. So I mean, it's just like so many things this year for students. It just was another round of disappointments, of things that they just didn't get to experience. However, on a positive note, I want to say, like we talk a lot in the theater about, it's really about the journey, not the destination. And I think our journey was fantastic. We started back in December with auditions, assembling a great cast and crew, and I think the whole process was enjoyable from right up to the end. So I don't regret any of that, and I think the students who were involved got something out of their experience.
I was pretty sad when I found out the show was canceled, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, you can't really change it, but it is definitely one of the sadder days in the production process.
I would like to say that if you're interested in theater, you should go for it, because there's nothing like getting an applause from a crowd, whether you're the lead or ensemble, whatever. It's great. The presence on stage is amazing.
I just want to thank anyone that helped, contributed to, or supported our show in any way. Your actions mean a ton, and we couldn't have done the show without you. I'd like to give special thanks to Mr. Beckfold for constructing our huge and awesome set. It was great to perform on. I'd like to thank Jen for giving us beautiful costumes to wear every single night. I'd like to thank Tara for working hours and hours with us on our choreography and for your patience even when we got a couple of dance steps wrong. Miss Tomlin for producing the show and getting us show t-shirts and creating the playbills. And finally, last but certainly not least, Mr. Shannon for constantly supporting us as a director and bringing us together even when we're apart during the pandemic. Special shout out to all of the class of 2020 seniors. Congratulations on graduating. We're gonna miss you, and thank you for being great role models.
I'd really like to just thank the community for their support. Many people, instead of requesting refunds for their tickets, just donated to the program. And I'm really appreciative of the outpouring of support throughout the community that we had. The parent volunteers, our staff, everybody was just really, really great and handled this very, very well. Class acts all around. For all the disappointment and people would have been justified and some negativity and reactions, but we didn't go down that path, and I'm really pleased with that. So again, thanks to the community, the parents, all the supporters, the students. I know we would have really given Abington a great show had they had the opportunity to see it. So thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity being able to speak with you.